Hi guys. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and well, let me just say it's been a week. Okay. As I shared the other day, our car is leaking antifreeze. Still haven't been able to get a rental car. I managed to make it to work today though. A woman who works the same house I do picked me up and brought me home. She's actually gonna lend me her car to get to work. So yeah. That's been one blessing. I'm sure by now you've all heard about the push in the wake of George Floyd to, oh Lord, my hair, sorry. It's kind of driving me crazy. In the wake of George Floyd to remove shows that show cops in any sort of positive light. After like 31 years, they've finally taken cops off the air. I mean, grief, that show was around when I was a kid, and to tell you the truth, I didn't think it was still on the air anyway. A&E has canceled Live PD, which doesn't really affect me because I never could get into watching it. The thing, though, that gets me about all this is there is now a push to either cancel Nickelodeon's popular children's show PAW Patrol or just take Chase off of it. And Chase is the little German Shepherd puppy who is dressed in a cop outfit, drives a cop car, and the only thing I've ever seen that dog do is use his winch. That's it. But God forbid that poor dog be dressed like a cop, drive a cop car. Apparently there was also somebody pushing to have Sky yanked off because, oh my god, she's a dog that flies a helicopter. Okay, look. I am all for acknowledging police brutality and fighting it wherever it shows up. I am all for ending systemic racism. I am, and I am certainly all for educating myself and attempting to educate my son and others about these hugely important issues, but now come on. Going so freaking far as to get nitpicky about a damn kids show that involves dogs. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Okay, Logan, my son with autism, he likes Paw Patrol. Sorry. He likes Paw Patrol, but it hasn't been until like the last month or so he's really gotten as in love with it, borderline obsessed with it as he is with Thomas. And wouldn't you know who one of his favorite dogs is? Chase. There are people who want to take that sweet little dog off a kids show or have the kids show yanked off the air altogether just because that little dog dresses like a cop and drives a cop car. Let me speak to those people if any are actually watching this video right now. And if you happen to know somebody who's against Chase, please share this with them. Okay. My son has level 2 autism. Do you know what he has learned from watching PAW Patrol? And especially from watching Chase. Chase and the PAW Patrol have taught that boy far better than I could how to be a kind, considerate, respectful citizen of this planet. They have taught that child how to be an everyday hero simply by lending a hand when somebody needs help. They have inspired him. They have inspired him to never give up, no matter how hard things get. Okay? Like I said, this show is geared towards preschoolers. It's just a bunch of dogs playing dress up. You want to sit there and get nitpicky because, oh my god, he's dressed like a cop. Sky flies a helicopter. And yet none of you even question the fact that of all the other crazy things that go on this show, these dogs talk. You don't want to sit there and get into the fact that, okay, of all the things that would make a legitimate complaint against PAW Patrol, there's not that much diversity. Mayor Goodway is the only African American I've ever seen, besides her brother and niece and nephew who show up on occasion. I've never seen an Asian person represented on PAW Patrol. Predominantly the cast is white. Mayor Goodway is the only recurring African American character that truly ever makes an appearance. Okay. I forget what it's called, but Logan has this DVD where they go to the jungle. Okay. They go to the jungle to save this kid named Carlos. Carlos is supposed to be Hispanic. To me, he doesn't look too Hispanic, but again, that's just me. The implication that I got in that, and again, if there's any Hispanic or Hispanic people or Latinos watching this, if you've ever seen that movie or those episodes and you feel like I'm getting it wrong, please tell me. But this was just something that kind of struck me. So they're out in the jungle, and it's sort of hinted at that it's supposed to be like the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Okay. Carlos falls down a hole. He meets this dog named Tracker. Tracker's the only one with a real Hispanic sounding accent when he speaks. Here they have a real opportunity, PAW Patrol did, to actually incorporate Spanish into the program. They dropped the ball, at least from somebody who went to school every day just so she could take Spanish class and fell in love with the language. Okay. The only time anybody says one word in Spanish, Carlos tells Tracker after he's fallen in the hole to get his cell phone and call the PAW Patrol. So Tracker does. And Tracker, when he pops up on the screen in the Paw Patroller, he says, "I have reached the Paw Patrol, ¿verdad?" Which is, I have reached the Paw Patrol, right? Ryder looks at him and he goes, "¿Verdad? Yes, you have." And I thought to myself, what a real wasted opportunity. You guys could have really used some Spanish words in here and made this whole thing more multilingual than you did. Because, of course, you know, what I can remember anymore of Spanish, I speak it, I sing it to my son. Same thing with Japanese. I'm better at singing it than anything else. It's easier for me to remember songs I know in Japanese. And Italian. Anyway, I'm trying to teach my son to be multilingual. He's bilingual with the fact that he speaks English and he can speak American Sign Language. He can use that to communicate. He also knows one or two words in German from watching Thomas on YouTube. In German. I've caught him. It would not surprise me if that was the same way he wound up learning Russian. Because I've heard him listening to it in Russian too. Although, like me, he loves to watch it in Japanese. He loves to watch when they run the model trains in Japanese. But they had a real chance, you know, for some diversity and to be multilingual, and they just don't do it. Another thing they could have brought up that would have been perhaps better served as an argument is, okay, well, why is Sky the only female dog on the team on a permanent basis? Yeah, we have Everest, but we don't see her too often. I can only think of like maybe 5 or 6 episodes, bare maximum, that we've ever seen that dog, and she's the only other female dog they've ever had. But no, you all want to waste time on a little flippin' German Shepherd dog who dresses like a cop, drives a cop car, says, "The Paw Patrol is ready for action, Ryder, sir." Chase is on the case, barks and goes, "Winch!" and uses a winch. That's what these people are getting so upset about. You're not doing George Floyd and Breonna Taylor any favors by bickering over a dang dog on a kid's show. I understand the sentiment that nobody wants to show cops at this moment in a positive light, and believe you me, I don't like law enforcement either. I don't. I have to respect them because a cousin of mine works in corrections. She puts her life on the line every frickin' day behind the fence. I respect her for it. I wouldn't do it. I admit it. I'm too much of a freaking coward. I wouldn't do it. I don't give a damn how good the pay is. I wouldn't do it. My stepbrother works in corrections in Somerset. And I worry about him all the time. Because, I mean, he's got a wife now. He's got a little baby boy, a beautiful baby boy who's a month old. And let's face facts, we all know that riots in jail happen. We all know jailbreaks happen. And there's almost always at least one guard who gets caught in a crossfire. And it's almost always the one trying to break it up peaceably. Okay. A dear friend of mine from nursing home I used to work at, her husband's in law enforcement. He's a cop. Straight up cop. And they have 3 young boys. And there ain't a dang day goes by that, for her sake and the boys, that I don't worry about him. Never met him. But because they have 3 small children, 1 set of twins, and a little boy who's right around my own son's age. Okay, I worry for her, and I worry for those kids, and I worry and I pray for his safety. Just because I am against police brutality, and you better believe I'm all about Black Lives Matter. I wholeheartedly believe that nobody's life matters until Black Lives Matter equally under the law, until Native American voices matter equally under the law, and everybody else. Believe me, every time there's a new story of cops killing some unarmed person, especially if it's a person of color, I'm right there ready to draw and quarter the cops who did it. Okay? Going after a dog on a kid's show, it's not serving justice. That's just being a jackass. You know, and it seems like every day shit's popping up on my Facebook page about these black mothers having to hold signs about their beautiful boys, their beautiful children, period, who like them are black and, have autism, and they stand there and they hold these signs that say, okay, my kid's black and autistic, are you going to shoot them too? How many stories have we heard about cops, pulling women over and raping them? I forget where it was, but I saw it the other day where cops had shot some unarmed black man. I think they either shot him or they did to him what they did to George Floyd up in Minneapolis. And whatever city it was, when they protested for George Floyd, they protested for him too. The black community in that city made a little memorial for him, and they rallied around that young white man's picture just as much as they were rallying for George Floyd. In North Carolina last year, cops shot an unarmed white deaf man using sign language to communicate. Okay, that hits home, because my son uses sign language. God forbid he would regress again to where he lost all his words. I'd probably lose it. Because it was over a 2.5 year battle to get him to speak again. And if it's God's will that he goes back to using sign language all the time to communicate, as sad as that's going to be for me, to not hear him use his beautiful voice. My biggest fear is going to be for him when he gets older. God forbid he'd run into a cop. Especially a cop who has no frickin' clue what autism can look like. What nonverbal autism can look like. Because it is in those moments where white privilege does not protect. White privilege does not protect women from being raped by cops. White privilege does not protect the white autistic child or the white deaf man any better than it protects the black autistic child or the black deaf man. Because you get these cops who have no clue what they're dealing with, and they're trigger happy, and they reach for their gun, and it's bang, 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 before they even ask a damn question and realize what the hell they're dealing with. Not that I'm saying all cops are bad. I truly hope and believe there are some good ones out there. I know there's none in Somerset County. At least not my hometown. Which, of course, Myersdale is supposed to be policing Salisbury, Myersdale, and Garrett. Haha, which is a joke. Somerset Town Cops and Somerset State Police. Yeah. Any of them I've ever encountered are shoot first, ask questions later. They deliberately go out of their way to scare you. Especially if you're coming home from work New Year's Eve and you're sitting there scratching your head going, I wasn't speeding. What could they possibly be pulling me over for? Pennsylvania State Troopers, at least the ones that are stationed in Somerset. So yeah. Okay, I do want to end this without getting on that soapbox again. So, like I said, I went to work with another woman who works the same house in Freedon as I do. And I left my debit card and our food stamp card with Nan, with a little paper with the pins on it so she knew what she was doing. My stepsister's going to be taking us to get groceries tomorrow. God bless her. And I told Nan, I said, if you think we're going to run out of milk before tomorrow, I said, well, here, here's the cards. I said, if it winds up they don't take the food stamp card, use my bank card. I said, make sure you get milk you need. And of course, if you want to get snacks and stuff for Logan, I said, you're going to have at least $5 worth to use the bank card. Okay. Get home. She tells me, well, Logan went right in there And he said he hasn't been in there in like months. Said he went straight in there, knew where the milk cooler was, and got the half-gallon of milk. Just the kind we drink. And he brought it to me. And I said, well, it's not like Logan's dumb. I said, he pays attention. And she said, yeah, well, here's the real kicker. She said, we wound up getting some ice cream, too, and brought it home. And while we were in line, I asked him if he wanted any candy. So he got himself some M&Ms, and he got a Three Musketeers, not realizing that I had picked myself up a bar. So I told him to put it back. So then he comes to this Butterfinger bar. So I didn't think he was going to eat it. Okay. Said we got him home. First thing he asked for was his M&Ms. Allergies, I swear, not COVID. She said, I asked him if he wanted the Butterfinger. He never indicated he wanted it. So she brings it in and she hands it to me. She said, the only thing I can think of is that he wanted you to have it. Okay. So she hands it to me, and I'm sitting it on my lap, and of course Logan's watching YouTube. On my phone. He looks down and he sees the candy bar on my lap. He cuddles real close to me and he goes, "That's for my mommy." Yeah. I had to fight back tears. I know he struggles with sharing. He's an only child, so it's kind of par for the course. But I thought to myself, I must be getting something into him somewhere. That his first reaction was to make sure each member of the family had one candy bar equally. One thing they love. Because he loves M&Ms. It's literally like the only candy he'll eat besides fruit snacks. And he made sure Nana had her Three Musketeers. And he must have realized that Mommy likes Butterfingers. With everything that's been going on this week, and I have felt like a stressed out mess. As you can see, there's dark circles starting to form under my eyes, even though I've taken pain pills just about every night this week, because this one tooth over here is bothering the hell out of me. And I'm still waking up like 3-4 times a night. Not from the pain, but just waking up. And, like I said, what really got me was he picked the candy bar up at one point, and he laid it back on my lap. And he looked up at me and he says, "That's for my mommy." little gestures like that, I know to anybody else, doesn't matter much. Heck, most people wouldn't even say that that's anything to get teary-eyed about. But it just drove into me, how many times this week have I sat there and felt like I was failing this kid? Because the car went to hell and back, and of course that was beyond my control. And yet, of course, I felt like I should have had all of that tightly under my control. And thank God he wasn't with. Thank God it happened to me on my way home from work. Okay? How many times have I sat there and wanted to kick myself? Because I'm failing him. I have felt more like a failure, perhaps this week, than I have necessarily in his entire 4 years of life. And the fact that he did that, and of course he said that's for my mommy. I thought, good God, what better way to remind me that I truly do not deserve to be your mom, kid. She literally had a chance to go crazy. Picking out candy and snacks for yourself. He didn't have to. He didn't have to pick anything out for me, and I'd have been just fine with that. Here he comes. Over to Nan in the middle of a gas station. With a damn Butterfinger bar. Of course, it's not the fact that it's a Butterfinger. It's just the thought that, not too many kids would be like that. Hell, there's very few I can think of in my own family that would have done something so selfless at his age. So somewhere along the line, maybe Mommy and the PAW Patrol and Thomas and Friends got it into him somewhere how to be a good citizen, how to make somebody feel better. When they're having a tough time. So yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why you'd want to take a dang dog off a TV show that my son loves. He loves that dog. He just thinks Chase is a hero. He doesn't see him as a cop. He just sees, oh my gosh, there's a talking dog, and looky there, look at all the gadgets he's got in that little car he drives, and look at how he helps people. I read an article about the whole Chase controversy, and somebody was quoted as having said on Twitter that Chase is Chase should be the standard that cops are held up to. Because he, in his own way, is the embodiment of the cop's oath to protect and serve. You never see that dog acting aggressively toward anybody. He's right there to help. Just like all the Paw Patrol dogs are. And Logan just adores that dog. One of the first things he learned to say after he was stuck here at home because of COVID was, Chase is on the case. And he would run around saying, Chase case. Chase case, for Chase is on the case. Of course, he's gotten better about saying the whole thing, Chase is on the case. Just like he has gotten better about saying Rubble on the double. And Sky's, this pup has got to fly, and let's take to the sky. He's been working so hard to say those. He can identify the dog by the color of their uniform, by the little insignia they wear around their neck, or around their collars. And he can tell you exactly what each one does and how they help. He knows Rubble runs a construction machine. He knows Marshall drives a fire truck. He knows Sky flies a helicopter. He knows Chase drives a police car. He knows Rocky. He knows Rocky, recycles things. He can't quite say recycle, but he understands what Rocky does. I fully believe that. He understands that Zuma is sort of the lifeguard dog out of the bunch, because he's always the one that as soon as there's something involving water, Ryder calls Zuma. He understands that, and those dogs have taught him how to be a friend, how to be a good citizen, and how to respect people. Just like I fully believe that show teaches that to all its young viewers. As much as I complain about having to sit through Paw Patrol on repeat, I will say this. When Nickelodeon created Paw Patrol, not only did they create a show that taught important values, they taught life lessons. And this is where I kind of get disgusted with Thomas, because it's all... How do I want to put it? Thomas is all... like playground melodrama to a point. Whereas Paw Patrol, in its way, tries to get into some pretty heavy issues, but do it in an age-appropriate way. One of Logan's favorite episodes, Captain Turbot's out whale watching. This oil tanker hits rocks and spills oil into Adventure Bay. Captain Turbot calls Paw Patrol, and he goes out there with... Ryder goes out with Zuma, and they block off they patch up the ship, they block off the oil spill, and they clean it up. And I think it's either Chase or Marshall helps Katie get this baby whale who has oil all over head and his body. They get this little whale over to Katie, and they keep him there, and they help her clean him. And I know a lot of the deeper subjects of that episode kind of went over his head, as it would with most kids. But I sat there and I thought to myself, well, that's a great way to kind of teach the kids about how we have to do our best to protect the environment, and how human actions play a huge role in what goes on with the animal world, and how we have to do our best to protect the one planet we all share. And it's little life lessons like that that I think really makes PAW Patrol a great show. I'm sorry this is so long. This is like the longest video I can think I've ever done. I'm gonna go finish my drink and get ready to go upstairs and read a book for the night and try to de-stress. So please, I mean, if you were one of those people watching this who wanted to get Chase off PAW Patrol, just remember, it's a kid's show. And for all you know, there are little ones like my son who have autism, who may be sitting there watching that show, and they're gleaning these little hidden life lessons that that show is teaching. And they see the dogs always engaging with each other properly and playing like good little dogs, which of course teaches kids, especially like my son, how to sort of behave on a playground setting. You know, just remember, it's a dang cartoon dog. It's not like he's out there busting narcotics rings. He's not getting aggressive. If Chase is aggressive about anything, he is aggressively kind. He is, and I'm not saying that because he wears a cop uniform either. I'm saying that because that sort of goes kind of part and parcel with the fact that he's a German Shepherd. He is aggressively kind. He is fiercely loyal to his friends. He is the leader, and he takes responsibility for what goes on with his team. He is the first one there when Ryder says he needs him. And he is the last one to go home. He does not give up until the job is done. And you know, maybe we as adults need to learn a few lessons from the PAW Patrol. To be kind, to be non-judgmental, and to have the backs of everyone in our community, and to stand behind our community. White, black, red, yellow, doesn't matter. You stand behind them, and you show them support, and you help them as much as you possibly can. You be kind and you be considerate. Good night.